Oh, that was cheesy. How's it going, everybody? Another Saturday, an Electro Saturday today. It would be cool if I had had different graphics for the different shows, but maybe one of these days we'll do that. No matter. We love techno, we love electro, and everything in between and in and around it and related to it. It's all good. Let's see, who's in here in the chat? Had a nice, looks like the conversation's getting started nicely already. Who was first today? John H. Kingston III. I think you probably have the highest rate of being first, historically. Rasmus from Sweden, hello. Paul Vandiver from snowy and trucky Canada. I think I know what you're talking about. Movement Sequential, hello from Italy. Hello right back at you. And look at this, from the Filterhead studio, Martin Wilmers. Glad to have you. Thanks for stopping by. Bill Bancroft, good to see you again. Nice that you're here. Live Society's back. Michael Black, welcome. Simple Sam is in the house as usual. Looks like that's about it. Oh no, here's New Drexian. You're here on a good day, I think, for you. Mystic Moth, welcome. Looks like, who else is here? Wispa 1A. Is that how do you say that? You know, it's like, you know, people used to say like Deadmau 5. Am I saying it wrong? LPB, welcome, hello. Von Mac is here. AMA. Nice to have you here. Miguel Diaz Acevedo from Brooklyn, excellent. Audible Video, Wayne Brown, nice collection, some new names, some old names. Very good. Let's get going. It's a little bit after. I'm starting a little bit late today. Sorry about that. Welcome. It's Electro Saturdays today. Usually Selway Techno Saturdays. I'm John Selway here on 343 TV, brought to you by 343 Labs, of course, music production school here in New York City and also in Berlin, doing in-person music production classes of all kinds, online courses. And now we got this new thing starting up any minute now. It's any day. The word's going out. The hype is starting. 343 Studio is happening. It's a new thing we got going. 3 levels of subscriptions from free to a couple of paid tiers that are higher, each one giving you a little bit more access. Really excited about that. Having a good time with it. Some of the people here in the chat could probably tell you about it. We've been doing collaboration workshops. We've been, you know, where you come and you meet other people, you team up in small groups to produce music together. And we talk about sort of the process and help you along. It's a good way. It's, you know, we give you a catalyst. We give you an idea to start with, so you're not just starting from completely blank. And then, you know, we're doing mentorship and feedback sessions where you can come in, ask questions, get guidance, look at the details of whatever music you're working on. We'll have workshops regularly, master classes, guest artists, videos, you know, these short form classes on specific subjects. We're building that library as we go. It's all going to be great, I think. So that's starting any minute now. There's going to be a launch event in the beginning of March. So definitely keep your eye out here. We will be giving you some exact dates and times very soon. So yeah. What else have we got going on? Of course, usually we have a giveaway. This week is no exception. There's a pinned chat in here. This week's giveaway is an Arturia FX plugin of your choice. So if you haven't already entered, click that link in the pinned post here at the top. Give us your email and we'll give you a chance to win the Arturia FX plugin. And they sound really nice. So yeah, it's worth a shot. Anyway, looking back in on the chat, I was talking a little bit, I messaged a little bit earlier about what I was doing today. So it's an electro day. And similar to last time when I did some electro basic sound design with the SH01, I have another kind of iconic synthesizer. And just literally a couple days ago, I read about this. This isn't the newest idea. It's been done before, but this is just a new version of it, and I wanted to check it out because it's very inexpensive, and it looks like it's trying to be a very faithful emulation of this particular synth. And, you know, with electro sounds, sort of historically, I mean, it changes as sound design gets more modern and more complex. Like there are definitely electro sounds that are more detailed, but for me, a lot of the really good classic sounds are not super complicated synthesizers. They're these kind of archetypal, clean, clear, sharp, basic waveforms, certain types of modulation that give it that flavor. And when you use those sounds, it just comes out sounding like electro somehow. And it's a really good starting point. And of course, you can get more complex from there using different processes, different effects, different types of modulation, more complex synthesis like wavetable, etc. But this is really, I'm kind of focusing on the basics and looking at these archetypal, simple, but very, very electro sounds. And this synth does that. Did anybody guess what it is yet? Someone mentioned the 808, 909. No, those have been done to death. Those are typical. This is like, this is a fairly famous drum synth, and there are lots of them, right? But this is a particular one. It's kind of rare now. It's hard to come by the actual hardware. Hey, Daniel from IntelliGel, welcome back. Nice to have you here. Max Wild, of course, our fearless leader here at 343 is saying hello from Berlin. Wow, I'm stumbling over my words. I need a glass of water. Mundulator, hi. Interesting name you got there. Funk Tour, did I say that already? Audible Video, I think I said already. Scrolling down the chat, Wispa1A, please tell me how to say that. Says Electro is great for building around live DJ sets. Sure, absolutely. I agree with that. But it looks like Daniel got it. The Synthcussion. That is right. That is absolutely what we are looking at. It's a virtual emulation of the Pearl Synthcussion. It is called the Synthcussion. And there have been other emulations of this in hardware. There was the recently the Psycho X Synthcussion, which is, it was a limited run. And I thought about buying one, and then it was too late. And now you can only get them used for a lot of money. A real Pearl Synthcussion's like probably $2,000-$3,000. The emulation, I'm looking at a price right here now on my browser. It says $1,400 for a used Psycho X Synthcussion. Right, so they're expensive, and the real hardware. And I heard some demos of the Psycho X one, and it sounds sick. It's like thick, and sometimes these little synth drums can be kind of dinky and just like chirpy and hard to make them have impact. But something about the Psycho X version and the original Pearl is they have like thickness to them. So they have these simple waveforms, but they punch, right? They're really sharp, and I like that. So today was, we're checking out the plugin to see if it holds up well enough to the hardware. So let's switch over here. This is what we're looking at. It's called the Synthcussion, and oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the actual manufacturer's name. Let me look that up while I talk to you. But it's available on Bandcamp, actually. And yeah, it's not coming up. Probably because I'm spelling it wrong. I should be sharing my browser with you, but I don't feel like opening up the browser on my Ableton computer because it's going to make the whole system slow down. Oh, here, no, that's not it. All right, I'll put up a link later. Anyway, it's the Synthcussion SE1. It looks, it's laid out exactly. You can see like a Pearl Synthcussion. It's got two voices, and the way it's split up, you control with MIDI from C3 and higher is channel 1, and below C3 is channel 2. So that's why you can split your MIDI notes to play both those sounds individually. Actually, this is the, oh, here it is. It's Lunar Bytes, licensed to Softcomputing. So yeah, if you guys want to Google search that and find it. And it's like 10 euros or 15, 16 bucks. I think it's worth it after playing with it for a few minutes today. Sounds pretty cool. So yeah, you've got 6 synthesis modes, selectable with the big rotary knob, and 2 voices of polyphony. Notes above C3, play the upper row. Notes under C3, play the lower row. We suggest to use the upper row for kick, bass, tom, and the lower row for high-pitched percussion. All parameters are suitable for full automation. Well, absolutely. As I said, I'm running a little bit late today. I had planned on hooking up a MIDI controller so I could tweak in real time, but in the rush, that got left aside, so we're just going to have to mouse around with this thing. Cool. Functor says, I read that Behringer are working on a Synthcussion clone. Well, that would make it a lot more affordable. People are kind of divided on on Behringer, right? Some people are really against them, and some people are for them because they're kind of like making all these legendary synths available for a fraction of the price. But then there's also the issue of their past behavior and business practices that a lot of people have issue with. I'm really mixed up about it because it's kind of, yeah, it's good and bad. It's hard though. I mean, I have a Behringer RD8. It's hard to say no when there's, you know, if you want that sound and you want to play with the hardware, but you don't have lots of money to buy the real thing, or I mean the original thing, or some higher quality clones are out there. You know, those would be great. But yeah, I don't know. In my life, I feel like I can't justify spending $1,000, $2,000 to $4,000 on an instrument, but $200, $300, $400, $500, I can see that. So that's the dilemma. And they sound good, so I'll bet you that their version of the Synthcussion will probably sound pretty good too. All right. I guess let's get moving. Hey, we've already got, it's Restream's letting me know we've already got 100 messages, so we're on a roll. Keep it up. Let's play around a little bit with the Synthcussion. All right. I already started beforehand, playing around a little bit. Let's move in here. Now, one thing I can say right out of the box is this thing is really loud. You got to remember to turn the volume down. What I actually did was rather than just put a limiter on it and squash everything from the beginning, I put a utility after it and brought the gain down a bunch. Of course, I'm jacking it up again going into the saturator. Actually, let's hear what it sounds like without that. Still sounds, yeah, I'm only doing a little bit of saturation just to bring down the transient peaks a little bit, warm up the tone of the kick a little bit. Like, because that snare sound is really sharp. Now, look at this. Wayne Brown says, Behringer are going to clone everything, and then when they've done that, they will clone themselves. They're just addicted to cloning. Okay, now Rasmus N says, I want to see some magic today. Okay, now you got me anxious. I cannot promise magic, but at least we'll have fun. Let's see where it goes. May says, end synth supremacists. Okay. All right. Let's get back to the synthesis. All right. So you're hearing the kick and the snare. We've got channel 1 and channel 2. Yeah, channel 1 pretty sure is the kick. Let's take a look. That's right. So C3 is playing the kick drum pattern. And this lower note, right? I've got it set to a voice that doesn't have pitch. It's just noise, right? But let's deactivate those for a second. You can hear a little bit of a snap between those notes as they overlap slightly. The amplitude of the... There we go. You can hear when one overlaps the other one, there's a little bit of a snap. That's pretty typical. I don't mind that. It definitely has the like out of phase oscillator, you know, cutting the amplitude effect that the real thing would have. Maybe, does anybody in here actually have one of these? Or even like a hardware clone of the Pearl Synthcussion, and does it act like that? All right, so we're on. All right, here's a little issue I have with this. The knob action is weird. Look, I have to click and drag up to turn it down. This would probably, mapping MIDI to this would make it feel a little bit more intuitive, but yeah, it's like I'm literally clicking and dragging up to go down. I'm not quite sure that makes sense, but whatever. All right, so tune and decay, self-explanatory. The width in this case sounds like filter. Yep, it's just bringing a resonant filter down. You can hear a little bit of resonance happen as I bring that lower. And then the sweep is going to be pitch modulation of the oscillator, right? So there's no modulation. Increase the range. And then the speed is, the rate of the envelope that's, the attack and decay, I guess, that's controlling that pitch modulation. All right, I've totally lost my original sound. Just like last time when we were talking about making these sounds with the SH01, it would probably make sense to like capture this to audio all the time, so you have all of these variations going. I don't want to get too distracted by that workflow today, so I'm just going to keep loading up Synthcussions until my CPU complains. All right, so the LFO is going to do modulation of the oscillator. I don't know that I need this on a kick drum, but let's see what happens. All right, it's just going to sweep up and down slowly. Let's speed that up. All right, that's not working well on a low frequency sound. It's getting clicky, unless you really want noisy, clicky sounds. Get granulated or something. So for a solid kick, I think I'm going to stay away from that LFO modulation. I might tweak that again. The sample and hold randomizes the pitch of the oscillator every time you trigger it. That could come in handy for other sounds or for variation. But I think for my main kick, I don't want to do that. Not right now. Okay. Let's turn that snare drum back on. Kind of thin, right? It's a very distinctive, thin, filtered white noise. Right, so that's oscillator mode F. In this case, the tuning is a filter or cutoff for the filter. And this sweep, I guess, is doing... Huh. Whatever the speed is doing is real subtle. But you can hear there's something going on when I change the range. Sounds like it's almost like a vocally kind of sound coming out of that filter. All right, the width is doing more to the filter. It has a nice little thwack on it. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm checking out in the chat here. Luminous Cloud, that puppy is Mac only. All right, that's a drawback for some of you. I know that currently it's just a Mac plugin. There are so many, for years, there have been so many awesome Windows only plugins. So come on, give us one. I'm sure they're going to port this to Windows at some point. I think the platform it was developed on would make it easy to do that. I think Peter Kern wrote about this on Create Digital Music, and he mentioned that. So I would be surprised if they don't make a Windows version too. All right. Wispa says, sounds fat, bit like a Lin. Yeah, it's in that range of type of synth drum is, a Lin. Well, no, Lin is sampled, right? Never mind. What am I saying? I'm thinking more like Simmons, actually. That's more, the Simmons kind of sound. This is in that world. All right. Cool. Wispa says, definitely works good for electro. Any drum synth is good for making electro. That reminds me. Okay, so you can do more with this than just drum sounds. I mean, that's what it was originally designed for, but you heard before how the pitch could change randomly with the sample and hold. So I could try to make like a fast, I'm just going to put in a bunch of 16th notes, right? Let's load up another one of these. And that should be channel 1. And we can just, suddenly we have like computer blips, right? I wish you could control how high and low the range of those values were. It needs an attenuator. If we were using modular, I would be like, where's the attenuator? I would want to reduce the range of that or scale it to like, you can scale random values to quantize them to a scale. That's definitely modular world. But we're limited to the basics here, so we'll just go with it. I guess I could kind of control the range a little bit by changing the tuning. What happens if we do some LFO modulation to this? I'm going to do some fast, like almost audio range modulation to this. There you go. It's so robotic, weird. It's a little bit much, right? I'm sure if you're a big electro fan, you've heard stuff like this in tracks before. Now here's somewhere where capturing a loop to audio would be a really good idea. I'm going to do it because I could just find 1 or 2 bars that work so it isn't random forever. Oops. Let's just let that run a little bit and find a loop. Nice. Hello from Istanbul. Yicet Kan Karaman. Did I get that right? Welcome. Glad you're here. I love how international this audience is. It's perfect. All right. Right. Uh-oh. My CPU's starting to go. All right, I'm going to delete this one. Fingers crossed. All right, I know what we got to do. I'm going to increase my buffer size. Now, I have my buffer lower than usual because I noticed something. Wait for it. Those of you who are regular viewers know that my MacBook Pro, and I still haven't taken care of this, I'm sorry, but it's overheating, so I have to run it at like high buffer size all the time. But when I had this plugin above 512, the timing gets loose, right? This is a new plugin, and it's a small developer, and who knows, maybe they're still working out some things, but I noticed that earlier it was sounded less tight. The clock was not as good. It could be like a latency compensation thing. I don't know. I'm no expert on that, but it was sounding much tighter and precise in terms of timing with the clock when I had a smaller buffer size. But of course, my CPU is complaining, so we'll just make the best of it. All right, let's just make this like a 1-bar loop and see what happens. There you go. Now it's musical. It's repeating a phrase. Let's find another variation. That one's good. All right. I can get down with that. So that's one way you could use it, is for doing, it wasn't exactly melodic. It's sort of somewhere between a melody and percussion and noise, right? But that's another thing about electro sounds and techno sounds, is exploring those worlds. But earlier I had an idea to do an actual melody. So I wrote kind of a simple sequence here. I copied it so it's the same thing on both voices. Let me deactivate the voice 1, and then we'll just listen to what voice 2 is doing. Do you hear the sloppiness and the timing? All right, so that's definitely a bug. If I bring this down to 512, or it should be tighter. Actually, I'm still hearing it on 512. It reminds me, I wonder if it's on purpose. I don't know, because it could be with using some hardware, your clock might be drifting or a little bit off, and it's kind of, at first I thought, is that by design? Are they emulating like some hardware that's like where the clock isn't tight? I don't know. They got to fix. I think they need to fix it though. I think they need to make it so whatever timing issues it has on a larger buffer don't happen. All right, we'll just roll with it. Oh, I see Sapiotone asks, is this plugin available yet? Can't find it anywhere. It is available. I'll put a link up in the description after the fact, but it's on Bandcamp. And again, you want to look for, if you Google search, you want to look for Lunar Bytes or Softcomputing, and then the name of the plugin is Synthcussion. I'm sure you'll find it if you Google those 2 or 3 of those things, and you can get it on Bandcamp. Basically, it's a digital album. So you buy the preview MP3s, and then it includes an extra file, which is the installer for the plugin. All right, so I had the idea of doing this simple melody, right? And that's cool because, you know, they didn't just force you to use one note to trigger like a regular drum machine. Because it's a MIDI controllable digital instrument, we can also play scales going in. So that works out really well for using it as a monosynth. But what I was working on was adding that same melody on the other voice. I like the idea of having these 2 independent voices playing the same melody. Or maybe trying out different oscillator modes. That's kind of like a bass layer now. I bet you that doesn't work with my other thing that I recorded. Let's see. That would be a cool thing to just drop in every now and then. Another thing that would be nice, I feel like making this sound atmospheric, putting delay and reverb on it is just a no-brainer. Kind of going for this ominous, dreamy, sinister, but kind of euphoric at the same time vibe here. Hey, Anthony, nice to have you. You have a knack for coming in on the right day. I also thought, as far as a musical change for this, let's see what happens. I don't know if I'll switch it every 2 bars like that, but I like the idea of in my arrangement. Let's do it this way. I'll just switch between clips. And then in a different section. All right, I'm happy with that. We got the kick and the snare. I think I might want to split these. I know I'm going to overload my CPU again, but what I was thinking about is how the snare drum sounds a little bit thin. And I could, instead of having one row be the kick and the other row be the snare, I could layer those two on one snare and then have the kick be separate. So I'm going to duplicate that. And this one, I guess I will delete the snare. So that's just going to be this. And then over on this one, let's get rid of the kick. And then I'll change that voice so that it becomes a layer of the snare drum to thicken it up a little bit. Maybe less. Less pitch mod. Something like that. I need to work on it, but give the snare some lower tone. And, you know, that's more like, you know, a real snare drum actually has the low tone, the lower tone of the ringing, and then it has the white noise rattle kind of snarey part of it. So raw, this thing. I think it's doing a pretty good job of emulating the original. It's got that kind of, it's punchy, slightly dirty. It's got that classic tone to it. Let's try some different oscillator modes on that lower part of the snare drum. Whoa, that's low. I think that one's got some pitch mod or some frequency mod in it. It's got a little bend to it. I'm going to keep it simple. All right. I'm going to saturate it a little bit more. Is asking, that Synthcussion doesn't have multiple outputs? Huh, does it? I don't think so. If it does, live will see them. So I can choose audio from the Synthcussion. Nope, it's not seeing any inputs from each voice, so it is definitely not multi-timbral. It doesn't have separate outs for the voices. Well, it is, I'm sorry, it is multi-timbral in that one oscillator is one sound and the other oscillator is the other, but I'm not able to separate those instruments in the DAW. Just that one change makes me happy. That sounded cool just when I changed the delay time. Let me do that again. We're going to have to automate that in the arrangement. I really should have gotten the MIDI controller hooked up today. That would have been so much fun to tweak this with two hands at once. You could say it has a little bit of an SH-101 tone when you use it like this. Definitely, you're able to come up with similar stuff. And then, pitch modulation. I like this for a second part. It makes it more rough. Alright, so I was playing around with the delay automation. Can I do that from clips? I don't know. Only if it was on. I'd have to do it in the arrangement. Hey, this would be a bit of a tangent. I was trying to think of how I could get it to do that in real time without having to record or draw automation into the arrangement view. And I wonder if I use... All right. A little bit off topic, but I'm thinking about it and I'm going to do it. And that's really important when you're making music and you want to work fast and be productive, is to do the thing you think of when you do it. Don't just think about it and forget about it. Do the thing. All right, I'm going to throw an LFO on here, max for live LFO that I can map to anything and change. All right, it's just spitting out. It's like sample and hold. It's just spitting out a random value. And I'm pretty sure I can have that change like every beat, every bar, every 2 bars. Like right now, it's set to quarter note. So it's just to give me a random value. And sometimes it doesn't do anything. Let's make it every bar. Let's reduce the depth a little bit. All right, so this is a real experiment. I'm gonna map that to the sync. There you go. So it's changing the beat division. And I want to make sure that I limit the range so it doesn't go outside of where, you know, if it's too slow or too fast, basically. So that's what this depth is going to be. And then I can offset that higher or lower so it kind of sticks between 3, 4, 5, and 6. A little trial and error to get it right. Alright, so I'm going to duplicate this one, but instead map that to the right channel. What I just did there was change my pre-post sends. So now, even though the volume's down on the Synthcussion, you're still hearing the signal going through the returns, just so you can hear what the delay is doing separately. You know what? I think these should go less often. Let's do every 2 bars. Crazy. How are we doing for time? 1:45. Time's flying by. This is hypnotizing me. I want to do another thing though. Let's do something different. All right, I'm missing a hi-hat. Where's the hi-hat? We've got to have a hi-hat. All right, we dare load up another Synthcussion. And let's throw in a classic, like the most classic hi-hat pattern, right? I think we definitely want this to be noise. Although you could do something like that. Too chirpy though. Oh, that's cool. It's got that little zappiness to it. I'm going to keep that and layer that with, let's make the other voice noise and layer it with some of that. Ah, come on. Wrong key commands. There we go. That is really loud. I'm sorry, guys. It's like totally, this absolutely, I warned myself and you before. If that was distorting, apologies, or clipping, because I just noticed the master was going crazy. Definitely lower the volume out. This one definitely needs some kind of limiting or something. I think it's that super high frequencies that were coming out of that one. Whoa. All right, that was dangerous. Let's just start with a limiter. Put a utility here. You know, it doesn't matter that much that it's coming out that loud from the plugin. You know, we're working in 32-bit. We have tons and tons of headroom. Another thing we can do is roll. That's what it was. It's like peaking way up there in the range that isn't even audible and causing distortion. That's going to help a lot. That's better. I can listen to that without destroying myself and my speakers in your ears now. Let's put some effects on that. Simple. Phaser, flanger, one of those. I'm going to do a phaser. Why not? Maybe I should put this after all the, yeah. I don't want to go crazy clipping into the phaser. Maybe flanger would be better, but I'll stick with that. Plenty to play with. You don't have to go crazy with layers and layers of stuff. You can just have a few cool, interesting elements and go from there. It's also easier if you want to perform it live. You don't have to keep control of like a million different things. I think this is a good start. It's 1:50. I know we started a little late. Sorry about that. But got to keep with my day-to-day schedule. Can't really go much past 2 today. Let's just take a pause here, rest our ears, talk a little bit. See what's going on in the chat. Let's see. You guys what are you guys talking about? You're talking about Behringer clones. You're talking about Wispa says stretch delay is great for breaks. I agree. Sound code. I like this. Thank you. He says, this is money. Thanks so much. I love doing this. I love just hanging out with you guys, and you know, I don't always know how this is going to turn out. If it's going to come out great, I'm experimenting with a new plugin that I've never used before. This could have gone horribly wrong. I actually have done this before, where like a plugin just like freaked out. It's a little dangerous to do, but you know, it's a learning process. Like you know, it was important to discover about this synth that there's a timing issue when you're using a higher buffer. So if your CPU is struggling and you have to increase your buffer size, it kind of makes this plugin harder to use. It's not as tight. So if you do have a fast CPU and you're not having heating issues like my computer, then it won't be a problem. Or you can always just run it low latency, lower buffer and capture it to audio and then layer it all up that way. You don't have to kill your CPU with a bunch of plugins. Looking for some other comments here. Thought I saw something about automate the stereo delay. We did that. Absent, that's so kind of you. Thank you. Yeah, I should release more. I'm so focused on other things in my life. I haven't really been finishing, let's say. I've been starting a lot of new music, but I haven't been finishing a lot of new music. But you're right. Now, I know, Absent, you've been really productive. I see you're making lots of tracks and you're putting your stuff up on the Instagram, and it sounds cool. So, Patrick Lindsay's in the house. What's up? Yes, for sure. I don't know what you're talking about. I just clicked on it. And what else is going on? Yeah, you guys are just talking about Behringer, pitch delays. Yes. All right. It's our winner. That's what I was doing. I was killing time until the winner was announced. So congratulations today to Kurt Geiser. You are the winner of an Arturia effects plugin of your choice. Congratulations. We'll be in touch and let you know about how to collect your prize. So thanks for playing along. And, good luck to those of you next time who didn't win. Hopefully your day will come. Now, let's see. Let's try to do one more thing. And it's a bit of a rush because there's only a few minutes left before 2 o'clock. I'm going to go back into Ableton Live and think about what else should I do with this. Definitely can start the track out with this stuff. Maybe less of the delay. All right, some rhythmic variation would be good. The snare drum is just doing the same thing all the time. Oops. That's easy, that stuff. Just little fills every now and then. Come on. How does this thing sound if I trigger it like on 30 seconds or even faster? I'm not sure if that's going to work, but. It's loud, that's for sure. Not terrible. I'm not in love with it. Even if it was just simple, like eighth notes. What's your take on electro drum programming, everybody? Like, there's different styles of drum programming where you may have just really simple, repetitive drums that don't change a lot, or where you have more intricate, more variation, more fills. It becomes a little bit more breakbeaty in that way. It's kind of a stylistic choice, right? I'm sure Anthony has some thoughts about that. I feel like Anthony's really good at creating a simple groove that doesn't have to change a lot and is just powerful and it just goes, right? But then there's other really good styles of beats in electro where it just keeps moving all the time, like lots of kick drums and lots of variation. What do you guys think about that? I'm just curious. I'm thinking maybe I have a fairly busy kick drum here. So maybe I can have a variation where there's fewer. Straighter, That's a pretty typical kick drum pattern right there. Hi-hats sound good with the delays, although I don't know about the delay modulation is going to sound. And I think I'm going to take it back on these fast. I'm not sure about these fast fills here. Simplify it. I could do another variation on the kick where it's just more on the downbeats. It's much heavier with more kicks, right? I could, duplicate this out, make some changes, have it alternate between different bars, like. You get the idea. Lots of possibilities. Let's see what you guys have to say about the drum programming for Electro. Patrick says, I like it most of the time a bit more straight to have more room for variations. Yeah, that's true. If you got notes playing all the time, it gets a little hectic, right? It also, you have more time to feel the groove, and then the little changes that happen every now and then stand out more than if there's lots of stuff, lots of notes, lots of beats flying around all the time. That's good. Audible Video says drum patterns need to keep the pulse, but change is needed. Obviously, and most of the time, I keep the beats simple in the start, and then when I arrange, I'll go in and make changes where it feels like I need changes. And I think somebody here said something about that, about how go where Shelly says where the track wants to go is the best, right? And you feel that when you make it. And then Anthony says, I feel where to set variations when I start arranging the track. Exactly. In the loop, I don't do much. That's exact. Yeah, we're on the same wavelength there, where it's good to keep it simple to start with, and then you don't overdo it, right? So, maybe I don't need to go in and make all these different variations. I should just go with what I started with and then change it later when it needs to change. Because that's true, right? When you put it in the context of an arrangement, that's when you know what needs to happen when. Because you feel it. Definitely. Nice. James, you made it. Nice to have you in the house. And you're here right on time for the very end. So you can go back and rewind and watch it from the beginning. But anyway, thanks for coming in. Thanks to everybody who joined in. Some nice surprise guests in the chat here, along with all of our regulars and the new faces. Thanks so much. It's been fun. I wish I could hang out with you longer, but the day must go on. Just one more little plug, actually, for 343 and our new studio program that's starting up real soon. Really looking forward to that. It's going to be fun. So keep an eye out for, there's going to be some social media. There's going to be some maybe even some press. I don't know. Like, we're going to make a big push to let everybody know about this new program. And again, it's there's 3 tiers. There's a free tier. There's 2 paid tiers, a lower and a high one. The higher tiers, you get more access, more content, more one-on-one. And that's actually one of the best things I think about the 343 Studio program is, it's less of an investment than like a whole big, huge course that costs a couple $1,000, right? It's like, a reasonable amount of money per month. You can drop in when you need it. You can talk to someone like me. You can talk to Abe Decay. You can talk to our other instructors. I mean, we have different instructors here that have different specialties. We're doing the collaboration workshops. You can get together with other producers and meet new people and make music and learn how to collaborate, which I think is a really important skill. And you have the mentorship sessions and the feedback sessions where you can come in and get one-on-one direct interaction on your work, the workshops and master classes that we'll be doing, and then we're building up a catalog of pre-recorded content. So definitely keep your eye out for that. Keep your eye out. I think first weekend in March, 4th or 5th. Oh my gosh, my mind. Anyway, will be our. It's starting this month in February, in a matter of days, actually. And then our opening sort of event, our launch event, is going to be the beginning of March. So again, we'll be telling you about it. Thanks for listening today. Thanks for watching today. Thanks for joining in the conversation. I'll be back next week. So enjoy. Have a good one. Until next time. Adios.